Okay, so today we're doing 5.2. Yes, day 3. There is no day 4. The next thing we're going to do is going to be about scatter plots. So day 3 is the last lesson about um, using point slope formula. So I think the first thing is remember the slope formula. You'll need to know that for your test, okay? You'll also need to know point slope, and that would be y minus y1 equals m, then x minus x1. Okay, that's going to be point slope formula. And then you'll need to know slope intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. And in order to get it into point slope, you need to know the slope and a point on the line. Sometimes you'll have to use a slope formula to get that. And then in order to get it into slope intercept, yesterday's lesson taught us to use point slope formula to help us get that, and then we can put it into slope intercept as our final answer. Today, we're going to talk about standard form of a line. And I think the big thing is the reason why we have this is you learned with Miss Curtis last year about elimination and substitution, where we put two equations together to solve for the common answer that works in both of them. The thing is, we don't really want a lot of fractions and like weird looking formulas. We would like them to be two nice equations. If we're going to solve two together, we want them to be cuter. And so standard form of a linear equation is going to be like this. AX plus BY equals C. The essential thing is you put the X term, then the Y term, and then equals the constant on the right. And we want the leading term to be positive. Okay, I always put a smiley face here because the other ones can be negative, but you want your very first term to be positive. And we want no decimals and no fractions. Why? Because again, if we're going to be putting two equations together eventually, we want them to be as basic and simplistic as we can. Okay, and so I'm going to talk to you about how to do that. And so we will be using the slope formula today. We're going to choose one of the points. We're going to use point slope formula. And then we'll convert it into slope intercept and then convert it into standard form. So this is going to be, if you have to get here, we're going to take quite a few steps to get there, aren't we? And so on day 1, we just stopped here. On day 2, we went to there. Day 3, we're going to go to standard form. And they talk about that. The X term has to be positive, and there are no decimals and no fractions. So we're going to just practice just converting things first, and then we'll do the whole shebang, all the 5 of those steps. So just say, can we take this? And this right here is slope intercept. And we want to get that into standard form. How do we do that? Okay. So to do that, we want the X term, we want AX, and then BY equals C. Okay. Okay, so to get the X term on the left side, to move an entire term, you have to add or subtract it. So we're going to subtract 7/2 X from both sides. And we're going to put that first. Okay. So first the X term, then the Y term equals the constant. We have that. We want the leading term positive. So to change the sign, if you have an equation, you can times all the terms by -1. And you get 7/2 X minus Y equals -5. Again, all of them have to be multiplied by -1. And then lastly, to get rid of the fraction, if you see a fraction, times all the terms by that denominator, which in this case, the bottom part of the fraction is a 2. So we're going to times it by 2. And so how do you do that? Well, you can use a calculator, or you can realize you can take 2 times 7/2, put the fraction times the number goes over 1. You get 14 over 2, which is 7, times the top, times the bottom, and you get 7x. Take the 2 times the next term, and you get -2y. Take the 2 times the last term, and you get -10. So you want the x term, then the y term equals the constant, no decimals, no fractions. This right here is in point slope. To do that, we are going to distribute. Okay, so you get -2/5 x, and then if you do -2/5 times 10, or 10 over 1, times the top, times the bottom, and divide it. Mind your signs, negative times positive is negative. And then what I would say is let's get the x term on the other side because we want the x, then the y equals the number. So we're going to add 2/5 x to both sides. To move a whole term, you got to add or subtract. So since this is negative, you're going to add it. You get 2/5 x, and then plus y, minus 1 equals -4. We're bringing down what's left. And then we want to get the x, then the y equals the number. So we're going to add 1 to get it to go to the other side. And then the x term is already positive, but we have to get rid of the fractions. We're going to times everybody by that denominator, which is 5. So 2/5 times 5, or 5 over 1, makes 10 over 5, which is 2x. Take the 5 times each other thing, you get plus 5y equals -15. All right, there we go. Standard form, x term, y term equals the number. Now this last side is what we're going to do is we're going to say, step 1, we're going to find the slope. Step 2, we're going to pick a point and then put it into point slope formula. And then we're going to solve for standard form. You can say we're going to put it into slope intercept and then standard form, but basically you have to get it into standard form, which means distribute. Okay, and then put it in ax plus by equals c. So let's start by doing the slope. Okay, so 3 minus a -3 over 4 minus 1, 6 over 3, which is 2. So my slope is 2. Pick a point. I'm going to do the first one. Call it x1 and y1. Y minus a -3 equals 2, x minus 1. And minus a negative becomes plus a positive. So we have it in standard or slope we have it in point slope formula. Okay. The next thing we're gonna do is we want to get it in standard form. So we're going to distribute. We get 2x minus 2. We want the x term, then the y term equals the constant. So we've got to move the x term to the other side. And then we got to move 3 to the other side. And we can't have decimals or fractions, and the first term cannot be negative. So we'll times every term by -1. There aren't any decimals or fractions, so we're good to go. Okay, let's try the next one. Find the slope. So let's do 3 minus 4 over 12 minus 9, -1 over 3. So slope is -1/3. We're going to be careful with our signs. So if this is x1 and y1, y minus 4 equals -1/3, x minus 9. Okay, when we distribute, you get -1/3 x. Now, when we distribute -1/3 times -9, we're going to get a positive, and we get 9 over 3, which is going to be 3. So remember, negative times negative is positive. If you use your calc, you can get the answer, but if you can't use a calculator, you also can get the right answer with your, wait, I just got that in slope-intercept form. You can get this in slope-intercept form, but truthfully, what we really want to do is we want to get this into standard form. So let's add the 1/3 x to go to the other side. Gotta remember where we're going. So 1/3 x plus y minus 4 equals 3. We're going to add 4 to get it to the other side. And then our first term can't be negative, it's not, and we can't have fractions. So we're going to times it by that denominator. So we're going to do 3 times 1/3. That makes 3 over 3, which is 1. So you get 1x, or just x, plus 3y equals 21. Okay? Okay, the next one. 5 minus the negative 5 over 0 minus 4. Make sure you do the slope formula properly. You get 5 minus negative 5 is 10. 10 over 4, negative 4, is negative 5 halves. Always reduce, okay? The negative can go on top, middle, or bottom of a fraction. And then we're going to do the first point, x1 and y1. So y minus negative 5 equals negative 5 halves, x minus 4. Get negative 5 halves x. Then negative 5 halves times negative 4 over 1 is a positive 20 over 2, which is 10. Be very careful with your signs. Negative times negative is always and shall always be positive. Now we want standard form, so we're going to add 5 halves x to both sides. And then solving for y, or move the 5 to the other side. We cannot have any fractions, so we're going to times by the denominator. So if you do 2 times 5 halves, put the number over 1, you get 10 over 2, which is 5x, plus 2y equals 10. Okay. And the last question, negative 7 minus negative 6 over negative 2 plus 3 is going to give us negative 1 over 1, which is negative 1. Y plus 6 equals negative 1, x plus 3. Distribute, get negative 1x minus 3. We got to add 1x to get it to the other side. So 1x plus y plus 6 equals negative 3. Minus 6 from both sides, you get x plus y is equal to negative 9. You don't have any fractions and your leading term's positive, so we're good to go. All right. Well, this is it. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day.